Do you remember those quick 10-minute recipes from the 1960s that are now forgotten? These fast dishes brought flavor and comfort to busy families with little time. Could rediscovering them change how we cook today? Creamy avocado and egg salad was a beloved quick fix for many households in the 1960s, combining ripe, mashed avocado with chopped hard-boiled eggs and creamy mayonnaise. This simple yet flavorful mixture was perfect for spreading on bread or stuffing into sandwiches, providing a rich, satisfying taste in under 10 minutes. The smooth texture of avocado complemented the tender eggs, while the mayonnaise brought everything together with a touch of moisture and tang. This salad reflected the era's growing interest in new ingredients like avocado, which became more accessible and popular in American kitchens during that decade. It was a nutritious option packed with healthy fats and protein, ideal for busy families looking for quick meals without sacrificing flavor. Its ease of preparation and versatility made it a go-to dish for lunchboxes, casual dinners, or light snacks. While avocado salads have evolved over time, the classic creamy avocado and egg salad remains a nostalgic favorite that embodies the quick, comforting, and delicious spirit of 1960s home cooking. Sweet potato and raisin mash was a simple yet comforting side dish that brought together the natural sweetness of canned sweet potatoes with juicy raisins in an effortless mash. Popular during the 1960s, this recipe capitalized on pantry staples that required minimal prep but delivered satisfying flavor and texture. The sweet potatoes were mashed until smooth and mixed with plump raisins, creating a balance of creamy and chewy elements. Often served alongside main courses, this dish was prized for its sweetness and convenience, making it a common choice for busy weeknight dinners or holiday meals. Its quick preparation time fit well into the 10-minute recipe trend, offering families a way to add variety and warmth to the table without complex cooking techniques. While modern variations of sweet potato dishes tend to be more elaborate, the straightforward sweet potato and raisin mash stands as a nostalgic reminder of the resourceful, flavorful meals that defined 1960s American kitchens. Hot dog roll-ups were a favorite kid-friendly snack throughout the 1960s, consisting of hot dogs wrapped in crescent roll dough and baked to golden perfection. This quick recipe brought together the comforting familiarity of hot dogs with the flaky texture of crescent rolls, creating an easy-to-handle finger food loved at parties and lunchboxes alike. The rolls were assembled in minutes, making them a practical solution for parents needing fast and tasty snacks. The appeal of this dish lay not just in its flavor but also in its fun presentation, as the wrapped hot dogs resembled miniature pastries that children eagerly devoured. It captured the era's spirit of convenience and family-focused cooking, combining processed foods in clever ways to satisfy busy schedules. Though homemade versions have become less common with the rise of commercial snack foods, hot dog roll-ups remain a nostalgic emblem of quick and simple 1960s comfort food. Quick chili cheese dip was a warm, spicy appetizer made by combining canned chili with shredded cheese and heating briefly until melted and bubbly. This 10-minute recipe was perfect for parties, game days, or casual get-togethers, delivering a satisfying mix of smoky, cheesy, and spicy flavors. The dip was often served with tortilla chips or crackers, making it easy to share and enjoy in a communal setting. Its simplicity and speed reflected mid-century America's love for convenience foods that could be whipped up without much fuss. Using canned chili ensured the dip was budget-friendly and accessible to many households. Although chili cheese dip remains popular today, the quick homemade versions of the 1960s had a distinctive charm rooted in combining pantry staples into crowd-pleasing dishes. This recipe embodies the era's knack for hearty, flavorful snacks that made entertaining both easy and delicious. Curried cottage cheese spread was a flavorful cold dish that blended creamy cottage cheese with curry powder and fresh herbs, designed to be spread on crackers or toast. This recipe emerged during the 1960s when Americans were beginning to experiment with global flavors, incorporating mild curry spices into familiar dairy-based foods. The result was a spread that combined tanginess, spice, and creaminess, offering a unique twist on standard cheese spreads. It was quick to prepare, requiring only mixing of ingredients, making it an ideal 10-minute recipe for parties or light snacks. This spread reflected the era's growing curiosity about international cuisines and the desire to introduce new tastes into everyday meals. While curried cottage cheese spread is less common today, it remains a fascinating example of mid-century culinary experimentation and the blending of convenience with exciting flavors. Cold asparagus and mayonnaise salad was a simple and refreshing side dish featuring tender asparagus spears tossed in a light mayonnaise-based dressing and chilled before serving. Popular in 1960s America, this salad was often served at summer picnics, dinner parties, and holiday meals as a cool counterpoint to richer entrees. The mayonnaise dressing, sometimes flavored with lemon juice or herbs, added creaminess that complemented the crisp yet delicate texture of fresh asparagus. This salad was prized for its ease of preparation and elegant presentation, often arranged on lettuce leaves or decorative plates. It fit perfectly into the 10-minute recipe trend, providing a fresh vegetable option that required minimal cooking or fuss. Although tastes have shifted toward vinaigrette-based dressings, cold asparagus salad remains a nostalgic favorite for those who appreciate classic, creamy vegetable sides that evoke the charm of 1960s dining. Honey mustard ham wraps were a speedy, flavorful handheld snack consisting of thin slices of ham rolled with honey mustard and fresh lettuce, perfect for lunch or light bites. This 10-minute recipe combined the sweet tang of honey mustard with savory ham and crisp greens, offering a balanced taste that was both satisfying and easy to prepare. Popular during the 1960s when convenience and flavor were equally important, these wraps could be assembled quickly with minimal ingredients and no cooking required. They were perfect for packed lunches, casual gatherings, or buffet tables. This recipe reflected the era's increasing interest in portable, ready-to-eat foods that did not sacrifice taste. While modern wraps have evolved with a variety of fillings and sauces, honey mustard ham wraps remain a classic example of quick and delicious mid-century recipes designed to please busy families and entertaining hosts alike. Frozen fruit and yogurt pops were a cool and healthy treat made by blending canned fruit with yogurt and freezing the mixture into popsicles, offering a refreshing dessert in minutes. This 10-minute recipe was popular in the 1960s as an easy way to use pantry staples to create homemade frozen treats that appealed to both children and adults. The combination of creamy yogurt and sweet fruit created a balanced flavor that was light and satisfying on hot days. These pops were typically made by mixing, pouring into molds, and freezing, requiring minimal effort while providing a wholesome alternative to commercial ice creams. This recipe exemplified the era's growing emphasis on convenience, nutrition, and family-friendly cooking. Though frozen desserts have become more varied and elaborate, frozen fruit and yogurt pops remain a nostalgic reminder of simple, wholesome pleasures from mid-century American kitchens. Tuna salad stuffed tomatoes were a colorful and nutritious 10-minute recipe featuring halved tomatoes filled with a quick tuna salad mixture, perfect for lunches or light dinners. The tuna salad was typically made by combining canned tuna with mayonnaise, chopped celery, onions, and seasonings, then spooned into hollowed tomato halves for a visually appealing presentation. This dish offered a refreshing balance of creamy, tangy tuna salad with the juicy, slightly acidic tomato, making it a satisfying yet light meal option. Popular in 1960s America, tuna salad stuffed tomatoes embodied the trend of combining convenience foods with fresh produce for speedy preparation. Served chilled, they were often enjoyed at picnics, buffets, or simple home meals. While less common today, this recipe remains a charming example of mid-century quick dishes that balance taste, nutrition, and ease. Crispy, fried green tomato slices were a beloved Southern-inspired snack and side dish popularized in the 1960s, made by thinly slicing unripe green tomatoes, breading, and pan-frying them until golden and crisp. This 10-minute recipe was cherished for its tangy, slightly tart flavor and crunchy texture, providing a satisfying contrast to heavier dishes. The tomatoes were often dipped in a simple batter or breading mixture seasoned with salt and pepper, then fried in hot oil for a quick, flavorful treat. Crispy fried green tomatoes were commonly served at family dinners, potlucks, and restaurants, representing Southern comfort food that gained national popularity during the decade. Their quick preparation and bold taste made them a favorite for those seeking easy yet delicious recipes. Though the dish has become a regional classic, it stands as a nostalgic reminder of the inventive, approachable cooking styles of the 1960s. Quick pickled cucumber relish was a staple condiment of mid-century American kitchens, cherished for its bright tang and crisp texture. This simple recipe involved thinly slicing fresh cucumbers and marinating them in a mixture of vinegar, sugar, and salt, sometimes enhanced with spices like mustard seed or dill. The relish was ready to serve after a brief soaking, offering a refreshing burst of flavor that complemented sandwiches, grilled meats, and cold cuts. Its tangy sweetness and crunchy bite made it an ideal accompaniment to heavier dishes, balancing richness with acidity. Popular at barbecues and family dinners, this quick pickled cucumber relish was easy to prepare, required no cooking, and could be stored for several days. Its versatility and convenience fit perfectly with the fast-paced cooking style of the 1960s, making it a go-to addition for home cooks. Though the rise of commercial condiments has lessened its everyday presence, this homemade relish remains a nostalgic reminder of simple, flavorful accompaniments that elevated ordinary meals. Cheese and pineapple skewers were a cheerful, bite-sized appetizer that embodied the playful spirit of 1960s entertaining. Cubes of sharp cheddar cheese alternated with sweet pineapple chunks threaded onto toothpicks or cocktail sticks, creating an attractive and easy-to-eat party snack. The contrasting flavors of salty, savory cheese with juicy tropical pineapple made for a pleasing combination that delighted guests at cocktail parties, potlucks, and family gatherings. These skewers required no cooking and minimal preparation, allowing hosts to quickly assemble a tasty and visually appealing dish. This simple recipe reflected the era's fondness for finger foods that combined convenience with a touch of sophistication. Though the popularity of pineapple in savory dishes has waned, cheese and pineapple skewers remain a nostalgic symbol of mid-century Americana and its inventive yet accessible approach to casual entertaining. Cold radish and butter sandwiches were a charming garden-inspired treat popular in the 1960s, combining thinly sliced fresh radishes layered generously with butter on soft white bread. This straightforward recipe required little more than fresh radishes, softened butter, and bread, making it a quick snack or light lunch ideal for warmer months when garden vegetables were plentiful. The sharp, peppery bite of radishes contrasted beautifully with the rich creaminess of butter, offering a simple yet satisfying flavor experience. This sandwich celebrated fresh, seasonal ingredients and the pleasure of uncomplicated food. It was a common choice for tea parties, picnics, or afternoon snacks, embodying the era's appreciation for easy-to-make dishes that did not sacrifice taste or texture. Though less common today, cold radish and butter sandwiches evoke a nostalgic sense of homegrown simplicity and the joy of seasonal eating in mid-century America. Chicken and celery salad cups were a refreshing and hearty cold dish that featured shredded cooked chicken combined with crunchy celery and creamy mayonnaise, served in crisp lettuce or endive cups. This 10-minute recipe was a favorite at 1960s cocktail parties and family gatherings for its convenience and attractive presentation. The chicken and celery mixture was lightly seasoned and chilled, providing a cool, satisfying filling that balanced the tender meat with fresh, crisp vegetables. Serving the salad in lettuce or endive leaves allowed for an elegant finger food option that was both light and filling. This dish showcased the era's talent for transforming simple ingredients into stylish, easy-to-eat appetizers. Though modern tastes have shifted towards different wraps and dips, chicken and celery salad cups remain a delightful example of mid-century American entertaining that combined speed, flavor, and sophistication. Baked apple slices with cinnamon was a quick, warm dessert popular in 1960s home cooking, involving thinly sliced apples sprinkled with cinnamon and microwaved or quickly baked for a tender, aromatic treat. This recipe required minimal preparation and no complicated baking, making it a favorite for busy families seeking a comforting dessert on short notice. The natural sweetness of the apples was enhanced by the warm spice of cinnamon, creating a cozy flavor perfect for fall or winter evenings. Its quick cook time fit perfectly with the era's growing use of kitchen appliances like microwaves for fast, convenient meals. Often served with a dollop of whipped cream or ice cream, baked apple slices offered a nostalgic reminder of homemade desserts that balanced simplicity with satisfying flavor. Though modern desserts can be more elaborate, this warm apple dish retains its charm as a speedy, wholesome sweet treat. Quick pickled onion rings were a tangy and crunchy addition to many 1960s sandwiches and salads, made by soaking thin red onion slices in a simple vinegar brine. This speedy pickling process softened the onion's bite while preserving their vibrant color and crisp texture. The resulting rings added sharp acidity and a refreshing crunch that brightened heavier dishes and complemented cold cuts and burgers. Popular at picnics, barbecues, and casual family meals, these pickled onion rings could be prepared in just minutes and stored for later use. Their ease of preparation and bold flavor aligned with the mid-century preference for quick, flavorful condiments that enhanced simple foods. While pickled onions remain popular today, this particular quick pickling method evokes a nostalgic approach to homemade, tangy toppings that defined 1960s American cooking. Canned peaches with whipped cream was a beloved, easy dessert in mid-century America, combining sweet canned peach slices topped with a generous layer of light, sweetened whipped cream. This no-fuss treat required no baking or cooking, making it a go-to choice for families wanting a simple yet satisfying finish to any meal. The juicy, tender peaches paired perfectly with the creamy richness of the whipped topping, creating a classic combination of textures and flavors. Often served in individual bowls or dishes, this dessert was a staple at summer dinners, holiday gatherings, and potlucks. Its convenience and deliciousness reflected the 1960s love for canned goods and quick recipes that fit busy lifestyles. Though fresh fruit desserts have become more popular today, canned peaches with whipped cream remain a nostalgic symbol of easy homemade sweets from the era. Chilled potato and green bean salad was a refreshing and popular vegetable side dish in 1960s America, made by combining boiled potatoes and green beans with a simple vinaigrette and serving it cold. This salad was especially favored during summer barbecues, picnics, and casual dinners because it provided a cool, light contrast to heavier grilled meats and rich main courses. The boiled potatoes offered a soft, comforting base that balanced well with the crisp, bright green beans, which added color and texture. The vinaigrette, typically made from vinegar, oil, and seasonings, brightened the dish without overpowering the fresh vegetables. Its tangy flavor helped cut through the richness of other dishes on the table, making it a perfect palate cleanser. The salad's quick preparation and ability to be made ahead of time made it especially practical for busy home cooks looking for easy but tasty side dishes. While modern potato salads often use creamy dressings, this lighter Tangier version remains a nostalgic reminder of mid-century American cuisine's preference for simple, vegetable-forward cold sides that complemented a variety of meals and seasons. Grape and cheese salad was a sweet and savory cold dish that combined juicy, fresh grapes with cubes of sharp cheddar cheese and a touch of mayonnaise for added creaminess. This salad was a common favorite at family gatherings, potlucks, and holiday meals throughout the 1960s, appreciated for its unique blend of contrasting flavors and simple, quick assembly. The natural sweetness of the grapes perfectly balanced the tangy, robust flavor of the cheddar cheese, while the mayonnaise provided a smooth texture that brought all the elements together. Often served chilled on a bed of crisp lettuce or alongside other cold dishes, this recipe exemplified the era's fondness for pairing sweet fruits with savory ingredients in cold salads and appetizers. While it may seem unusual to modern tastes, grape and cheese salad remains a nostalgic symbol of inventive and approachable mid-century American cooking. It highlights the creativity and resourcefulness of home cooks who sought to create tasty dishes that were both convenient and visually appealing, capturing the comforting spirit of quick recipes from the 1960s. Crispy cheese and cracker stack was a beloved no-cook snack in many 1960s American homes, consisting of neatly layered slices of cheese and crisp crackers assembled for easy serving and eating. This simple but satisfying recipe required only the choice of favorite cheeses, such as sharp cheddar, Swiss, or processed cheese slices, stacked between crackers to create bite-sized, flavorful snacks. The delightful contrast between the crunchy texture of the crackers and the smooth or firm texture of the cheese made this dish a favorite at family gatherings, cocktail parties, and casual snacks alike. These stacks could be put together in minutes, making them an ideal last-minute appetizer or easy-to-grab snack option. The recipe reflected the mid-century American appreciation for convenience combined with familiar and comforting flavors. Though modern snack trends have evolved toward more elaborate or health-focused options, crispy cheese and cracker stacks remain a nostalgic favorite for those who remember classic party fare, representing a time when simple ingredients and minimal preparation were the keys to enjoyable, entertaining, and quick bites. Quick fruit and nut yogurt. Parfait was a quick and nutritious treat beloved in the 1960s for its simple assembly and delightful flavors. This parfait layered creamy yogurt with sweet canned fruits such as peaches or pineapple, along with a generous sprinkling of chopped nuts like walnuts or pecans. The combination provided a pleasing contrast between the smooth, tangy yogurt, the juicy fruit, and the crunchy texture of the nuts. Perfect for breakfast, a snack, or a light dessert, this recipe required minimal preparation time, fitting the era's demand for fast, wholesome meals. The canned fruit added a convenient sweetness that balanced the natural tartness of yogurt, while the nuts contributed protein and richness. This parfait was often served in clear glasses to showcase its colorful layers, making it visually appealing as well as tasty. Its popularity reflected the growing awareness of health and nutrition during the decade, along with a desire for fresh, easy-to-make dishes. While today's parfaits may include granola or fresh fruit, the classic 1960s fruit and nut yogurt parfait remains a nostalgic favorite, combining pantry staples into a satisfying and wholesome treat that anyone could whip up in moments. Bacon and egg salad wraps were a savory and filling cold dish popular in mid-century America, combining chopped crispy bacon and hard-boiled eggs with creamy mayonnaise, then wrapped in fresh lettuce leaves. This recipe provided a tasty, portable meal or appetizer that fit perfectly into the 10-minute preparation window many home cooks sought. The smoky richness of the bacon blended harmoniously with the soft, protein-packed eggs, while the mayonnaise added moisture and a mild tang. Wrapping the mixture in cool, crisp lettuce offered a fresh, crunchy contrast to the creamy filling, making the dish both satisfying and light. Bacon and egg salad wraps were especially popular for casual lunches, picnics, and cocktail parties, offering an easy-to-eat finger food option that was visually appealing and flavorful. This dish reflected the 1960s focus on quick, convenient meals that still felt special and satisfying. Though modern wraps have diversified widely, these simple bacon and egg salad wraps remain a delicious reminder of the era's inventive yet straightforward approach to fast cooking and social dining. Peanut butter and jelly roll-ups were a fun and easy snack that became a favorite among families in the 1960s for their simplicity and kid-friendly appeal. This recipe involved spreading creamy peanut butter and sweet jelly or jam onto soft tortillas or flatbreads, then rolling them tightly and slicing into bite-sized pieces. The combination of salty peanut butter with fruity jelly created a classic flavor pairing loved by children and adults alike. The roll-up format added a playful twist, turning a traditional sandwich into a finger food that was perfect for lunchboxes, parties, or quick snacks on the go. This recipe required no cooking and could be prepared in minutes, reflecting the decade's growing trend toward convenient and portable foods. Peanut butter and jelly roll-ups also represented the era's embrace of processed foods and easy meal solutions that fit busy lifestyles. While the basic sandwich remains popular, the roll-up presentation adds nostalgic charm and practicality that make this dish a timeless quick recipe loved across generations. Chilled tomato gazpacho shots were a refreshing and flavorful cold appetizer that offered a taste of Mediterranean cuisine adapted to American kitchens in the 1960s. This recipe blended fresh tomatoes with cucumber, bell pepper, garlic, and seasonings into a smooth, chilled soup served in small shot glasses or appetizer cups. Gazpacho's cool temperature and vibrant, tangy flavor made it an ideal starter for summer meals and dinner parties, providing a light and healthy option before the main course. The quick blending process meant the dish could be prepared in 10 minutes or less, fitting the growing desire for fast yet impressive recipes. These tomato gazpacho shots showcased the era's interest in international flavors and novel presentations that elevated simple ingredients. Though gazpacho is more widely known today, serving it in shot-sized portions remains a charming retro way to enjoy this classic cold soup. This recipe reminds us of the 1960s fascination with global cuisine and stylish entertaining made easy. Cucumber and radish salad with dill was a crisp, refreshing cold salad that became a favorite in the 1960s for its vibrant flavors and ease of preparation. Thinly sliced cucumbers and radishes were tossed with fresh dill and dressed lightly with vinegar, sugar, and sometimes a touch of sour cream or mayonnaise. This combination created a balance of cool, peppery, and herbal notes that complemented summer meals and barbecues beautifully. Served chilled, this salad was a quick 10-minute recipe that added brightness and texture to the dinner table, providing a healthy vegetable side with minimal fuss. Its simplicity and fresh ingredients reflected the era's growing appreciation for quick, garden-fresh dishes that could be prepared without lengthy cooking. Though less common today, cucumber and radish salad with dill remains a nostalgic and tasty example of mid-century cold vegetable salads designed to refresh and complement heartier foods. Cream cheese and pineapple spread was a sweet and tangy cold appetizer popular in the 1960s, combining smooth cream cheese with crushed canned pineapple for a luscious and easy-to-make spread. This recipe required no cooking and could be whipped up in minutes by folding pineapple into softened cream cheese, sometimes with a touch of sugar or coconut for extra flavor. Served chilled on crackers, celery sticks, or as a sandwich filling, the spread offered a perfect balance of creamy richness and fruity sweetness that delighted guests at parties and family gatherings. Its popularity reflected the era's love for combining convenience foods with bold, contrasting flavors that were both indulgent and approachable. Cream cheese and pineapple spread became a staple of mid-century entertaining due to its simplicity, taste, and visual appeal. While tastes have evolved, this spread remains a nostalgic favorite for those who appreciate quick, retro recipes that transform everyday ingredients into delicious treats. Quick cranberry and orange relish was a vibrant and tangy cold side dish that gained popularity in the 1960s for holiday meals and casual dinners alike. This recipe mixed fresh or canned cranberries with grated orange zest and sugar, sometimes adding chopped nuts for crunch, all combined into a zesty relish served chilled. Its bright colors and lively flavors offered a refreshing contrast to rich main dishes such as roasted turkey or ham. The relish was easy to prepare, requiring little more than mixing and chilling, making it an ideal 10-minute recipe for busy cooks. It captured the decade's preference for quick, flavorful condiments that added zest and variety to traditional meals. Though cranberry sauce remains popular, this quick cranberry and orange relish stands out as a nostalgic alternative that embodies mid-century America's inventive take on holiday sides and fresh fruit dishes. Peach and cottage cheese. Snack bowls were a wholesome and satisfying 10-minute recipe that combined creamy cottage cheese with sweet canned peach slices. This simple dish was a popular choice for breakfasts, snacks, or light desserts in the 1960s, prized for its nutritional balance and easy preparation. The mild tanginess of the cottage cheese paired beautifully with the juicy sweetness of peaches, offering a refreshing contrast of textures and flavors. Served chilled in small bowls, this recipe was especially favored by families looking for quick, healthful options without sacrificing taste. The combination showcased mid-century America's growing interest in dairy-based dishes and convenient fruit pairings that could be prepared without fuss. While modern diets have diversified, peach and cottage cheese snack bowls remain a nostalgic comfort food that reminds us of the era's simple yet delicious approach to quick home cooking. Cold lentil and tomato salad was a protein-rich, refreshing dish that combined cooked lentils with diced tomatoes, onions, and a tangy vinaigrette, served chilled as a quick side. This 10-minute recipe was favored in the 1960s for its healthfulness, heartiness, and ease of preparation, fitting perfectly into the era's move toward balanced, nutritious meals. The earthiness of lentils paired with the acidity of fresh tomatoes and the brightness of vinegar created a complex flavor profile that complemented a variety of main courses. Served cold, the salad was perfect for warm-weather dining or light lunches, offering fiber and protein in a fast, convenient format. This dish reflected mid-century America's growing awareness of vegetarian-friendly options and the use of legumes as economical, versatile ingredients. While lentil salads remain popular today, this particular vintage preparation evokes nostalgia for simple, wholesome cooking that was quick to make and satisfying to eat. Chilled carrot and raisin salad was a sweet and crunchy vegetable salad popular in the 1960s, featuring grated carrots combined with juicy raisins and a creamy mayonnaise-based dressing. This 10-minute recipe was a favorite at potlucks, picnics, and family dinners, prized for its bright color, texture contrast, and sweet savory balance. The natural sweetness of the carrots and raisins complemented the rich, tangy mayonnaise, creating a salad that was both refreshing and satisfying. Served cold, it provided a light side dish that paired well with heavier main courses like fried chicken or barbecue. This salad fit perfectly into the mid-century American preference for creamy vegetable salads that could be prepared quickly and served chilled. Though less common on tables today, chilled carrot and raisin salad remains a nostalgic staple that represents the era's distinctive approach to fast, flavorful home cooking. Raisin bran with warm milk and butter was the winter breakfast trick every frugal family knew when mornings were freezing, but there was still work to be done. You would pour bran flakes into a bowl, warm some milk on the stove, add a small scoop of butter, and pour it all over the cereal. Breakfast done in 10 minutes, flat, warm, creamy, and filling enough to carry you through the morning. Families leaned on meals like this when groceries ran tight, but everyone still needed something hot and practical to start the day. It was sweet from the raisins, buttery from the milk, and surprisingly comforting for something so simple. You could find versions of this breakfast in old community cookbooks, homemaker guides, and those faded recipe cards tucked in kitchen drawers. Some folks sprinkled sugar, others added cinnamon, but it always came back to the same quiet goal: stretch a little food as far as you could and start the day with something warm. Funny how those simple breakfasts disappear when new trends roll in. Hot dog and Velveeta quesadillas were a dinner shortcut that showed up when there was no time and even less energy to cook. You sliced hot dogs, laid them into a tortilla with chunks of Velveeta cheese, folded it over, and tossed the whole thing in a hot skillet until the cheese melted and the tortilla crisped. That was dinner. It took less than 10 minutes, filled you up, and made the best of whatever was left in the fridge. Old cookbooks and family recipe boxes leaned on meals like this because they were fast, cheap, and comforting. The salty hot dogs, gooey cheese, and crispy tortilla made this simple dinner feel like more than the sum of its parts. You could dip it in ketchup, mustard, or just eat it plain, but either way, it was satisfying. Families on tight budgets and tight schedules loved meals like this. They stretched groceries, came together fast, and kept everyone full. Funny how a tortilla, some cheese, and a hot dog could feel like enough when the pantry looked bare. During mid-century potlucks, families often relied on pantry staples to whip up vibrant dishes at a moment's notice. This colorful medley typically combined different canned beans, chopped onions, and a simple vinaigrette, celebrating speed and convenience above all else. Culinary historians credit post-war marketing campaigns with popularizing the humble bean mix, as home cooks saw it as a thrifty and reliable way to feed guests quickly. The sweet and sour tang, balanced by the satisfying texture of tender beans, continues to evoke nostalgia for summertime picnics and cheerful backyard gatherings. Many laud its simplicity and accessibility, noting that nothing more than a can opener and a basic chopping board is required. Some households toss in bell peppers or celery for crunch, while others prefer a sprinkling of herbs to add brightness. Flavor and texture remain paramount, Each bite merges the mild creaminess of beans with the zesty snap of onions and vinegar. A few comedic fans joke that bean salad is the ultimate test of group etiquette. There's always that one person who can't resist more helpings, and they're not shy about it. Cold canned salmon salad was one of those quick, thrifty meals that turned an inexpensive pantry staple into a fast, protein-packed plate when groceries were running low. You flaked canned salmon into a bowl, stirred in mayonnaise, and chopped celery if you had it, and served it up cold. That was all there was to it. Fast, simple, and surprisingly satisfying when families needed something filling in a hurry. It might not sound exciting now, but back then, this recipe showed up in lunchboxes, on picnic tables, or tucked onto a dinner plate when meat was scarce and time was tight. The salmon added protein, the mayo brought it all together, and the celery gave it crunch if you were lucky enough to have some in the fridge. Families leaned on meals like this to stretch their groceries and keep everyone full without much effort. You would find cold canned salmon salad scribbled onto old recipe cards, passed down by neighbors, or quietly tucked into grandma's collection of forgotten quick meals. It might be overlooked now, but back then this was a reliable 10-minute fix when money was tight. Leftover meatloaf sandwiches with ketchup were the reliable lunches that showed up in fridges across America the day after dinner. You sliced cold meatloaf thin, layered it onto soft sandwich bread, added a squirt of ketchup, and called it done. It was fast, filling, and made sure that last night's dinner stretched just a little further. Meatloaf itself was all about using affordable ingredients, ground beef, breadcrumbs, eggs, and stretching them into a meal for the whole family. Turning leftovers into sandwiches was the next logical step, and it worked. You got a hearty, savory lunch ready in under 10 minutes with barely any effort. Old cookbooks loved suggesting it. Lunchboxes were packed with it, and kids grew up knowing exactly what was coming after meatloaf night. You could add cheese or lettuce if you had them, but most families kept it plain with just meatloaf and ketchup. It might not sound glamorous now, but back then it was the fast, frugal lunch that kept families fed and made every bit of dinner count. Canned peach halves with cottage cheese was the quiet, no-cook breakfast that kept dieters, seniors, and busy families fed when time and groceries were both running low. You would grab a can of peach halves, spoon some cottage cheese in the center, and breakfast was done in under 10 minutes. Sweet, creamy, and filling enough to count, it showed up in weight loss guides, homemaker magazines, and community cookbooks promising simple, affordable meals. Parents loved it because it was fast and required no stove, and older folks leaned on it when cooking felt like too much work. It might sound odd now, but back then, canned fruit and cottage cheese were pantry staples that stretched far and kept mornings moving. Some versions added a drizzle of honey or chopped nuts, but most kept it plain, quick, and practical. It is one of those breakfasts that slipped away as frozen meals and grab-and-go options took over, but back then, it was quietly keeping families fed with nothing but a can opener and a spoon. Leftover rice with creamed spinach was one of those pantry meals that turned odds and ends into something filling, warm, and fast. You scooped leftover rice into a skillet, stirred in canned creamed spinach, and added a splash of milk or cheese if you had any left. Everything cooked together until hot, and that was dinner. It was creamy, salty, and just filling enough to count when there was not much else in the cupboard. These little skillet meals showed up in old cookbooks because they stretched groceries, made dinner happen fast, and kept families full during lean times. You could eat it plain, add black pepper, or even crack an egg on top if you wanted to feel fancy, but most folks just scooped it onto a plate and called it a night. This meal did not take much: leftovers, canned greens, and a little creativity, and somehow it got everyone fed. Funny how these quick, practical dinners stick with you long after times get easier. In many kitchens, the comforting aroma of a steamy bowl conjures memories of simpler evenings shared with loved ones. Instant tomato soup, a swift solution for hungry families, gained considerable momentum when processed foods took off in the early 20th century. Culinary historians point to its rising popularity as a prime example of how convenience foods dominated American pantries. Despite its rapid preparation time, the soup's smooth texture and mildly tangy flavor still deliver satisfying warmth that appeals to palates of all ages. Those who relish nostalgia might remember cozying up with a hot mug after a long day, while busy professionals champion its speed and convenience. Interestingly, tomatoes supply a generous helping of vitamin C, making this option more than just comfort in a cup. Some folks even joke that it's the Red Rescue, swooping in to save anyone from a dull dinner crisis. Simplicity and accessibility guide the entire process. Boil water, stir in tomato base, and add a dash of seasoning if desired. The result is a bowl of soothing familiarity that Americans often link with childhood memories. This timeless staple also leaves room for creative flair, whether swirling in a hint of cream or pairing it with crackers. Jelly roll-ups on white bread were a quick, sweet little snack that kept plenty of kids going when there was not much else to pack in their lunchbox. You took a slice of sandwich bread, rolled it flat with a rolling pin or a glass, spread on jelly, and rolled it up tight. That was all there was to it. It sounds simple now, but back then, this was the kind of treat that showed up when families had to stretch every dollar. It was fast, easy, and made use of pantry staples that were always on hand. You would find these roll-ups tucked into school lunches, brought to church picnics, or passed around as after-school snacks when groceries were running low. The jelly added sweetness, the bread kept it filling, and it all came together in just a few minutes. It might be forgotten today, but for plenty of families, these jelly roll-ups were a quick fix that kept kids happy and parents sane. Cornbread pancakes with applesauce were the sweet, savory shortcut lunch you could pull together when the pantry looked bare, but you still wanted something warm. You grabbed a box of Jiffy cornbread mix, stirred in some water or milk, dropped spoonfuls into a hot skillet, and fried up little golden pancakes. They were crisp around the edges, soft in the center, and ready in minutes. Most folks topped them with a dollop of cold applesauce straight from the jar for that sweet, salty combination everyone quietly loved. It was a weird mix, but it worked, especially when groceries were low and creativity was high. Old-school lunch menus listed these because they were filling, fast, and cheap, making them a favorite for busy parents or frugal school cafeterias. You could dress them up with honey or butter, but the classic stayed simple. Cornbread cakes with a scoop of applesauce, ready in 10 minutes flat. It was comfort food that took little effort and brought just enough sweetness to brighten a rough day. Cheddar grits with butter were the Southern kitchen's answer to rushed mornings when everyone still needed something hot and filling. Quick grits, a little butter, a handful of shredded cheese, and breakfast was done before you even finished your first cup of coffee. It was the kind of meal found in tattered cookbooks, handed down from grandmothers who knew how to stretch a pantry without cutting corners on comfort. These grits were creamy, cheesy, and surprisingly satisfying for something that took less than 10 minutes to whip up. You did not need fancy groceries or a stocked fridge, just the basics. It kept bellies full through school days, work shifts, or long hours in the fields. For a lot of folks, this was breakfast you ate standing up, spoon in hand, on your way out the door. Simple, cheap, and quietly comforting. Grits have stuck around in fancier forms, but this quick, everyday version has slipped through the cracks of modern cooking. Fried canned spaghetti and cheese was the dinner you threw together when there was not much left in the fridge and your stomach was growling. You would open up a can of leftover spaghetti, sauce and all, and toss it straight into a hot skillet. As it fried, the sauce thickened, the noodles crisped up around the edges, and everything smelled just good enough to pass for a proper meal. Then you sprinkled shredded cheese over the top, let it melt, and scraped it onto a plate. That was dinner. It came from old cookbooks full of clever ways to stretch leftovers and make canned food feel less like survival and more like comfort. It was salty, cheesy, crispy in the right places, and ready in under 10 minutes. Most folks ate it standing by the stove or while leaning over the kitchen table because that is how those quick meals always went. It was simple, but it filled you up. Funny how a can of spaghetti and some cheese could turn into something worth remembering. Once a humble side dish favored in classic steakhouse settings, garlic butter mushrooms combined convenience with old-fashioned appeal. Across mid-century homes, Mushrooms were praised for their distinctive earthiness and ability to soak up flavors, though some comedic observers quip that these little sponges find redemption in enough melted butter and garlic. Indeed, this swift recipe capitalizes on minimal ingredients, mushrooms, butter, garlic, and herbs, to create a robust union of savory undertones and tender texture. From stovetop to table, the entire process unfolds in minutes, making it a valuable option for busy families balancing packed schedules. Experts note that mushrooms, often referred to as nature's hidden gems, offer vitamins and minerals that complement balanced meals. For those prioritizing efficiency, there's no complicated technique involved. Simply saute and season, ensuring that flavor remains front and center. This straightforward approach underscores the accessibility of an ageless favorite. No advanced culinary training required. Sardine and onion sandwiches were one of those quick, no-frills meals that filled hungry workers up fast and showed up in plenty of lunch pails across America. You opened a tin of sardines, laid them on rye bread, added some raw onion slices, and that was it. Simple, salty, and ready in under 10 minutes. It might sound harsh now, but back when protein was hard to come by and groceries were scarce, this was a go-to meal. The sardines gave you the protein, the onions added bite, and the rye bread kept you full. You would find this sandwich scribbled into old cookbooks, passed around among factory workers, or tucked into lunch boxes for folks heading out the door. It was never fancy, but it worked. Today, most people have forgotten how handy meals like this were, but back then, sardine and onion sandwiches helped plenty of families stretch what little they had and stay full through long, hard days. Cold chicken and mayonnaise roll-ups were the leftover lunch you barely had to think about, but still managed to feel like a proper meal. You shredded leftover chicken, stirred in mayo, maybe a little salt or pepper, and spread it onto soft white bread slices. Then you rolled them up tight, sliced them into little spirals if you wanted to be fancy, and lunch was ready in minutes. Some folks added celery sticks or pickles on the side, but most kept it plain, just cold chicken, bread, and mayo doing the heavy lifting. This quick lunch showed up everywhere from family picnics to old-school lunchboxes because it made use of leftovers, took no time, and filled you up fast. It may not have been flashy, but for busy days and bare cupboards, these little roll-ups worked better than most would guess. Buttered cornflake toast was one of those forgotten 10-minute breakfasts that once lived in every kid's cookbook or church bulletin. You would toast a slice of soft white bread, slather it with butter or peanut butter if you had it, then smash some cornflakes on top. That was it. Crunchy, sweet, filling, and ready before the school bus pulled up. It was not some gourmet recipe, just a quick fix that felt special on rushed mornings. Most families kept cereal on hand anyway, and this was a way to stretch it when the grocery budget was tight. Sometimes parents sprinkled sugar on top, other times it was plain. But either way, it turned leftover cereal into breakfast that actually stuck with you. You could even swap peanut butter for jam or just plain butter, depending on what was left in the fridge. These kinds of quick breakfasts were everywhere in old cookbooks. Simple, made from pantry staples, and good enough to get everyone out the door without complaints. Sardines on rye with onion and mustard was the kind of dinner that proved you could survive on pantry food and still eat something with bite. You opened a can of sardines, layered them cold onto slices of rye bread, and topped the whole thing with sliced onion and spicy mustard. That was dinner. It was salty, briny, sharp, and came together in minutes without a stove or oven in sight. This meal showed up in old cookbooks and handwritten recipe cards for one reason. It worked. Sardines were cheap, packed with protein, and lasted forever in the cupboard. Rye bread had enough bite to hold its own, and the mustard gave everything a sharp kick that kept it from feeling too plain. You ate it open-faced, with a fork and knife if you felt proper, or just with your hands when time was short. It was quick, practical, and oddly satisfying even when the grocery budget was running on empty. Funny how the simplest pantry meals stuck with us, long after times got easier. On 1950s buffet tables epitomizes the synergy between quick assembly and gratifying flavors. Historically, tuna skyrocketed in popularity after World War II when canned fish became a dependable staple in countless American households. The dish's appeal lies not only in its minimal ingredient list, but also in the crisp, refreshing texture that contrasts vibrantly with the creamy filling. Experts have often praised tuna's generous protein and essential nutrients, while home cooks appreciate the ability to whip up a family-friendly lunch with minimal fuss. Some quip that it's one of the few items that can hide wilted lettuce's questionable state, although a freshly washed bed of lettuce is always recommended. Indeed, the concept of presenting individual servings in lettuce cups dates back to an era enamored with elegant simplicity, an era that prized wholesome comfort over showy extravagance. By capitalizing on the combination of mayonnaise, crunchy celery, and subtle spices, this preparation delivers a taste that feels both nostalgic and contemporary. Creamed corn and hot dog skillet might raise a few eyebrows today, but back then it was pure practicality in a pan. You sliced up hot dogs, tossed them in a skillet, and poured in a can of creamed corn. It bubbled and thickened in minutes, turning into this sweet, salty, creamy meal that filled everyone up fast. You would not find it in fancy cookbooks or glossy magazines, but you would definitely see it scribbled onto a recipe card tucked in Grandma's kitchen drawer. It made use of cheap pantry staples, stretched meat farther, and showed up on busy nights when nobody wanted to cook. Kids loved the weird sweetness, parents loved how far a can of corn could go, and it all came together in under 10 minutes. It sounds strange now, but for families watching every penny, it was comfort food that made do with what little they had. Another forgotten quick fix that quietly slipped off dinner tables over time. Rice and egg bowls with soy sauce were the thrift store cookbook lunch that turned leftovers into something hot, salty, and satisfying in minutes. You grabbed leftover rice, tossed it in a pan, cracked in an egg, scrambled everything together, and finished with a dash of soy sauce. It was quick, filling, and one of the smartest ways to stretch pantry basics into lunch. Old, thrifty meal guides loved this recipe because it used stuff already sitting in your fridge and came together in under 10 minutes. Some folks added chopped scallions or a little sesame oil, but the classic stayed simple: rice, egg, and soy sauce, fried up fast. It was a go-to for busy parents, college students, or anyone making do with leftovers and a tight grocery budget. The rice got crispy around the edges, the egg brought protein, and the soy sauce pulled it all together. It might not win awards for presentation, but it filled you up and tasted good when you needed a cheap, fast lunch. Egg salad on white bread, open-faced, was the speedy breakfast that showed up in every 1960s lunchroom and kitchen guide when mornings were short but something filling still needed to hit the table. You would mash pre-boiled eggs with mayo, salt, and pepper, spread it on white bread, and serve it open-faced. That was breakfast, ready in under 10 minutes, practical, affordable, and good enough to carry you through the day. Families leaned on meals like this when groceries were limited, but eggs stretched far and filled hungry bellies. It was not fancy, but it was reliable, tucked into community cookbooks and school lunch guides that promised quick, no-fuss meals. Some folks added pickles or herbs, others kept it plain, but either way, it turned leftover eggs into something that worked fast. These days, it is rare to see egg salad show up outside of potlucks or picnics, but back then, it was a small, simple breakfast that actually stuck with you. Cold beans and onion salad was a no-cook dinner pulled straight from the cupboard that showed up again and again during lean times. You opened a can of kidney beans, drained them, and tossed them with sliced onion, vinegar, salt, and pepper. That was dinner. It might not sound like much now, but when the summer heat made turning on the stove unbearable, it was a lifesaver. These little bean salads filled old cookbooks from the 1930s to the 70s because they were quick, cheap, and practical. The vinegar gave it tang, the onions added bite, and the beans packed enough protein to get you through the night. You served it cold, right from the fridge, and ate it with a fork straight from the bowl. It was filling, salty, and satisfying when groceries ran low and energy ran even lower. Families leaned on meals like this because they worked. They filled you up fast, cost next to nothing, and kept the kitchen cool. Funny how the simplest pantry meals stick around longest. On sweltering summer days, A crisp and refreshing side wins hearts with minimal fuss. Thinly sliced cucumbers tossed in a tangy dressing highlight how speed and convenience can merge seamlessly with satisfying taste. Historians trace cucumber cultivation back over 3,000 years, with evidence in ancient India, though the tradition of quickly pickling them for salads gained traction much later. Food enthusiasts joke that this dish is the best way to turn a watery green vegetable into a bona fide star at potlucks. Each bite offers a cool snap balanced by a delicate vinegar kick, creating a pleasing contrast in both flavor and texture. The process remains remarkably straightforward. Slice, season, stir, and serve. This simplicity and accessibility make it appealing for busy households, ensuring that even novice cooks can achieve a crowd-pleasing result. Some add onions, others incorporate dill or a pinch of sugar for extra zest, reflecting how flexible this old favorite can be. Indeed, cucumbers contain a high water content, which supports hydration, practical for those warm months when thirst quenching is essential. Green bean and egg salad was one of those quick, cold meals that filled plates fast and stretched what little food families had during tough times. You opened a can of green beans, sliced up some boiled eggs, tossed it all together with mayonnaise, and that was it. A little creamy, a little savory, and ready in under 10 minutes. It might not sound fancy today, but back then, this quick salad showed up at church potlucks, summer picnics, and weekday lunches when the pantry was running low. The eggs added protein, the beans filled you up, and the mayo brought it all together in a creamy, satisfying bite. Families leaned on recipes like this because they used simple ingredients that were always on hand and turned them into meals that kept everyone fed. You would find this one scribbled in old cookbooks, passed along by neighbors, or quietly tucked into Grandma's collection of quick meal fixes. It might be forgotten now, but for plenty of families back then, green bean and egg salad was a go-to plate that saved time, money, and groceries. Cream cheese and olive sandwiches were once the fancy tea lunch that quietly slipped onto regular kitchen tables when people needed something fast. You whipped cream cheese until fluffy, stirred in chopped green olives, and spread the whole mix onto rye or white bread. It sounds strange now, but back then, this salty, creamy combo was considered upscale, especially if you cut the crusts off. It showed up at luncheons, garden parties, and even school lunches when moms wanted to make something that looked like they tried. Old cookbooks listed it under easy entertaining, but most folks made it because it came together in 5 minutes and filled you up without cooking a thing. Some people swapped in pimento olives or added sliced cucumbers, but the classic version stayed simple, creamy, salty, and fast. It may not win over modern taste buds, but for families watching the clock and the grocery bill, these little sandwiches were a retro shortcut that stuck around when time was tight. Cold rice with milk and sugar was the ultimate make-do breakfast pulled from the back pages of old community cookbooks and family kitchen tables when leftovers were all that stood between you and an empty stomach. You would take leftover rice, pour cold milk over it, sprinkle a little sugar or cinnamon if you had it, and breakfast was done in under 10 minutes. It sounds plain now, but back then, it was practical, frugal, and good enough to keep you going. Farmers, factory workers, and school kids all started the day with simple meals like this when groceries ran low, but mornings never slowed down. Cold rice was easy to stretch, milk made it creamy, and sugar turned it into something that actually felt like breakfast. Some families tossed in raisins or fruit if they had extra, but most kept it plain and quick. You will not find this breakfast on menus today, but back then it quietly kept families fed with nothing but leftovers and a little kitchen ingenuity. Funny how the simplest meals fade away. Boiled egg and sweet pickle sandwiches were the fast, quirky little dinner that came together in minutes when you needed to stretch groceries. You mashed up boiled eggs, mixed them with diced sweet pickles and mayonnaise, and spread the whole thing between slices of soft white bread. That was dinner. It sounds a little strange now, but it filled you up, stretched a carton of eggs, and cost next to nothing. These sandwiches showed up in old cookbooks from the 1940s through the 70s because they were practical, easy, and satisfying. The eggs added protein, the pickles gave sweetness and crunch, and the soft bread pulled it all together. You could eat it plain or toss in a little pepper if you wanted to dress it up, but most folks kept it simple. These were the dinners that filled plates fast, stretched budgets, and got families through tight times. Funny how the oddest little combinations stick with you long after the hard years pass. Egg in a whole toast was one of those fast, comforting breakfasts that managed to make plain old bread and eggs feel like something special in under 10 minutes. You would grab a slice of sandwich bread, cut a circle right out of the center, toss it into a hot skillet with a little butter, and crack an egg into the hole. That was all it took. The bread toasted up golden, the egg cooked right inside, and suddenly breakfast was on the table without much work or money spent. Families leaned on meals like this when mornings were hectic, paychecks were stretched thin, and everyone still needed a hot meal before heading out the door. It was a staple for school days, early church mornings, or whenever groceries were low but hunger was high. Some folks added cheese or herbs if they had them, but most kept it simple and practical. You would find egg in a hole scribbled on recipe cards, tucked into faded cookbooks, or passed down by word of mouth through generations. It might feel forgotten today, but back then, this quick breakfast trick kept countless families full, happy, and ready to face the day with just bread, eggs, and a hot skillet. Which 60s 10-minute recipe makes your mouth water? Comment below, like the video, and subscribe for more delicious throwbacks.